Welcome to Investing in Comic Books. My name is Terry Hoknes. I publish a series of books looking at all the best investment books of comic books over the decades. And you can check them all out at hawknescomics.com. Today we're going to look at X-Men #2 from Marvel 1963. Let's look at the pros and cons and decide if this book is a good investment. Well, this is, of course, the second appearance of the X-Men. And the villain of this book is the Vanisher, who makes his first appearance. And it's a classic Jack Kirby and Stan Lee team up on this book. And Jack Kirby also did the cover art. Looking at the CGC census over the last couple years, you'll see I've taken samples from 2 different time periods. And you'll see that over the course of just over 2 years, there was about 200 more copies submitted to CGC. So that could give you an idea of how many books are going to show up in the future. But in 9.6 or better, there used to be 5 copies, and now there's 7. And Heritage has sold a bit over 100 copies. So over the last decade, that's roughly 10 copies a year or 1 a month. So it's turning up fairly common. That'll, of course, be all grades. So high grade, only 7 copies, 9.6 or better. Once we get to the Silver Age, people are really seeking out the highest grades. And at this point, 1963 is about the first year where the books really seem to actually be saved. The growth in Marvel superhero books is growing rapidly, which leads us to the first comic book conventions, in fact, which helps collectors find all those back issues that they missed getting off the newsstands. Looking at the Overstreet Price guide, we've got samples here for the last 8 years. You'll notice in the past year, this issue actually stalled in top grade 9.2. Before that, it was making a pretty steady growth of approximately $200 every year. So that's good to see. So even though it stalled this year, chances are it's going to start moving up again. So I don't see this as a panic button that it's overpriced. But it's just kind of caught up to itself for the moment. Looking at 9.0, though, because of that, it actually fell in price because the near mint didn't go up at all. That the 9.0 actually fell a bit for market correction, though it had been moving pretty steady and had gone up $600 in the last 7 years. Looking at the other grades, because of the stall of the top grade, all of the lower grades had a small dip. Again, I don't think this is permanent. This is just, it's reached its plateau just for the moment. Give it a year or 2 and it's going to start moving again. But if you look at the period over the last 7 years, would I invest in anything 6.0 or less? Well, you'll see that there really has been no growth. It's almost been flat, steady, and with the few dollars drop this year, you've made absolutely no money in the last 7 years on this book. And because there are so many copies, chances are you can find this one on eBay and auctions for even under guide. So be cautious of that. This is a major key book. It's an early one. It's a 1963 Marvel, which is the last year I recommend to collect hero books that are actually might be rare to find. But of course, X-Men is popular, which has helped drive the prices up and brought all the copies out for sale. Let's look at some of the Heritage Auction's best sales ever. They have sold 9.8 just in 2012, and that copy sold for $43,000. That is 10 times guide. So even though the guide price stalled, a 9.8 brought 10 times guide. We also had a 9.6 copy sell also in 2012 for $20,000. That's still 5 times guide. And they have sold a couple 9.4s over the years, both in 2005, and at that time period, that was when it was worth $2,900, and so those copies both brought about 2.5 times guide. So again, the highest copies above 9.2, always a good investment. There's very few of them, and they do sell above guide all the time. But once you hit 9.2 or less, there has been resistance. There's just enough copies out there. Let's look at the CGC census to see if that is true. You'll see that there are 2 9.8s in total, 5 9.6s. Those are the super high grade books. Those are the books that in the future are going to be the ones that sell for multiples a guide and eventually take this to be a $100,000 book in the future. But once we hit 9.4 or less, the copies start becoming really common. Of course, mid to high grade copies, there's lots of them graded. This is by no means a hard to find book once you get under the 9. And 830 copies graded on that census. So summing up this book, not rare at all in all grades, but definitely rare in the highest grades total. He turns up on auction a lot. You'll have to pay over guide for the top copies. I'm sure you can buy low grade copies for under guide, as Overstreet has showed that there's really no growth at all in the mid to low grades. So do I recommend this book? Well, 9.2 or higher, I am going to give it a thumbs up, even though it did stall on the guide this year. 8.0 or less, you're really not making any money, so I would stay away from this book. It is a key book, a great one to have in your collection if you are an X-Men fan. Alright, if you'd like to learn more about this book, other books of the X-Men, or any other classic gold and silver or bronze books, check out our series of books about investing and history in comics called Investing in Comic Books. You can check them out at hawknescomics.com. I'm Terry Hoknes. If you would like to see a specific book covered in this video series, please contact me at hawknes@hotmail.com. Thanks for watching.